Yellow, yellow. I'm gonna test this type of content. This isn't gonna be the main ever for my channel, but this is a reaction to this legendary drop video. I have seen a lot of his videos before, but he's talking about. I only watched a little bit of it, but then I thought I got my own 2 cents into this, and this is about the price gouging video games nowadays, where it went from 50 to 70, and now uh, game developers and journalists want 70 to 100 or even more, depending on what game it is. And I'm gonna hopefully test this formula. Now, when I watch reaction videos of other people, they usually pause, talk, pause, talk, pause, talk. So I'm gonna try to pause at a good talking point, and then put my 2 cents into it. And if it's longer than when I paused, I think that should be fine. I hope it is. Anyway, I have also seen other reaction videos where people watch the whole thing and then talk about it, but I don't want to risk that. And go give Legendary Drops love. I'm actually going to do that right now. He's actually really good. I think he has a good head on his shoulders when it comes to video game stuff, like talking about video game dramas or just the industry itself. I say him, Asmongold, which I know a lot of people are on and off with Asmongold, but him, Asmongold, and I forget her name. There's another one. I had to look through my videos and see if I could find it, but the three are pretty good. Like, I agree with most of their viewpoints, if not all. Asmon, mostly agree with most of his stuff that he puts up. But let's see.
Recently, a nasty little conversation has reared its ugly head yet again, and it's that the video game industry believes that it's time for games to be $100 or more. Mark my words, if this is the path that the industry chooses to follow, this will likely lead to the largest collapse this industry has ever seen. They think that the layoff.
I do agree with that. If game industries are asking for more money, and he's going to get into it in detail, but if they're going to be asking for higher than $70 for the stuff that they've been putting out, what's going to happen? And I see this happening. Shareholders are going to pull out of companies. Studios will die. Major studios will not die because they probably will have a backing to keep them irrelevant or relevant. Excuse me. Indie studios will go skyrocket. Like small teams, like less than 10 people, will probably be new millionaires because they, if they're good, they will stay in the $20 to $30 range. I mean, look at My Side. My Side's a dating sim horror game made by I think it's two Russian people, and I can already tell they're top of charts, and the game's only $15. They probably made million already or more in just that game alone. Not even adding DLCs or any other stuff, just the game sales alone. And it doesn't look that high of quality. Like, the writing and everything might have been good in the game, but like graphic wise, it didn't look that good. Like, it's just what it is for what you pay, and it's like $70 for, like, let's say this, $70 for Star Wars Outlaws. Would that be worth it? In my opinion, no. That game should be 40 or less. The writing wasn't good, gameplay wasn't good. Graphic wise, sure, they can take that, but in my opinion, graphics don't really mean much no more. Yeah, a game might look visually stimulating, but if your story is as boring as flipping over a rock in the burning sun and just seeing how tan the rock can get, and that's your form of writing and entertainment, then no one's going to play your game. Or they'll just wait till it's on sale. That's literally at the point to where I'm at with video games, is that I need to wait till games are on sale. Like the only games I purchased recently that I paid in full are Stalker 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. That's the only 2 games I bought full price. All right, we'll get back into the video though. He'll go into it.
Closures and canceled games are bad now. You haven't seen anything yet. The players already have a long list of reasons as to why not to buy games today. And you want to go and add an even bigger reason to that list? Likely for the vast majority of players, the reason that will be at the very top of their list. You know, for years now, we've heard about how they think that the video game industry bubble is going to burst because there's just been so much investor interest over the years. The wages have increased, the cost of development and marketing has gone up, and the long development cycles that these games are in, 7 to 10 years in some cases, is just not making these games financially viable. These big AAA, these big shiny AAA games are too expensive to make for such little return. So they've gotten themselves thinking, well, how do we fix this issue? What's the actual problem here? I mean, it can't be that our, leadership is incompetent.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it sometimes always comes down to people and the higher up chairs. I wouldn't blame all problems on developers and corporate, but most of the time it's someone always above someone or just someone that isn't in tune with the industry that is usually the reason why video games suck. I think after COVID hit in 2020, a lot of people got into video gaming, and whether it be just putting money into it or trying it out for the first time, something. Whether it be something simple as playing Candy Crush on the phone, or playing a mobile game, or getting into PC gaming, or getting into console gaming, like something. I noticed it went up, and that's like a good thing and a bad thing. Because the bad thing is you have new people who know nothing about the industry, who now have positions in power to dictate what they think is good for gaming, but they're also new to it. So how do they know what is good for gaming? They've never been a gamer before. I've been a gamer for going on 21 years. I started really young. I even have a old baby picture of when I was like 3 or 4 playing the GameCube with my uncle and my dad. So I've been playing a long time. But that's what I think is what's happening, but he'll get into more details, so we'll get back to the video and I'll try to not yap as much, but I've never done reaction videos before, so I'm hoping this is how you do them.
It can't be the slop that we've been delivering to the customers. It can't be that we've been over-investing in these projects. It has to be that the customer's not paying enough money. That has to be the solution to this.
Always customers'
So today what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the industry's long list of excuses as to why we need to be paying $100 or more. We're going to watch on as journalists seal clap the industry's death march into oblivion, and we're going to talk about why I think the players aren't going to buy. This isn't the first time we've had to have this conversation. Back in 2023, Capcom's president came forward at an event.
Capcom's president says game prices are too low. Capcom said this, mind you. Oh, man. And I'll get into this because I don't know. I haven't watched the whole video, so I don't know what he'll get into. But here's my problem with pricing. Games like, let's say, GTA 6 that are coming out. It's the most anticipated game of the century, if not the decade. And it's going to hit a market where they can dictate the price, in my opinion. Because I know there are some die-hard GTA fans that would gladly pay $100 or much more for that game. And what's crazy is that I already know at launch it's going to be a single player game. They're not even going to have it on PC when it comes out. That would probably be another, oh god, 7-8 months, maybe even close to a year before it even gets released on PC. And then probably another 2 to 3 years before it even gets a multiplayer, if it will even get a multiplayer. People don't even remember when GTA 5 first came out, it didn't even have an online. It was just a single player game. And then the online came out, but then only like 12 people could play on the server, and the servers didn't have anything to do other than racing. It didn't have a custom game mode editor. It didn't have death matches. It didn't have heist missions to do. You could rob a convenience store. You could join a race. And I think it had like some missions that you could do to earn money. But then they added more missions. Then they added the heist. Then they added the apartment or the bigger apartments and more garage spaces, and then it started going everywhere. And it's their biggest hit ever. It's literally next to Minecraft and like the most gross how much they made. Whether it be from microtransactions, which is another topic I won't get into, and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, so let's be reasonable. No one's gonna pay 70 and above for a new Assassin's Creed game. No one's gonna pay 70 and above for a new EA game. No one's gonna pay 70 and above for a new Call of Duty, although some people might, which is still crazy to me how much people are still delusional to Call of Duty. But like, in my opinion, 70 was already pushing it for some of these games. And I think Baldur's Gate 3 said it best. The game in the industry needs to start worrying about its customers more than its shareholders. Because I think soon people are going to draw a line in the sand with some of these companies and be like, do you care for us? Do you care for your shareholders? And if they blatantly come out and say that, yeah, we care for shareholders, not gamers, then a lot of people are going to leave. And then that's when the industry will start dying. Because then people are going to start pitching their tent to actual good game developers, whether it be whoever. I don't think any of them technically. I think if you really want to get into gaming, support indie studios. Most of the times their games are better, in my opinion. Like, I've been in love with Street Nova. I haven't even touched CS:GO in like 4 weeks because of it. So it's doing something right. Yeah, we'll get back into the video, but we're getting more. It's a 30-minute video. There ain't no telling how long this reaction is going to be.
In Japan, and explained that video game prices were far too low even after the price hike up to $70, explaining that video game development costs are 100 times more expensive than they've ever been, and games haven't followed inflation like other industries. And he's not wrong. In 1990, a standard game would cost around $50, adjust for inflation.
Here, the one on the right is what I had. I think it's the Nintendo 64, I think. This was my first console. I didn't play any of it. I did. No, did I? No, I didn't have any of these. And the Game Boy Advance, that's also what I had.
That would be closer to $100 today, yet even with the price hikes.
Yeah, GoldenEye, 64 Mario, Star Fox. I really hope they make another Star Fox, and this is how I want it. If you ever played Ace Combat 7, I want it to be like that, but with Star Fox. If they want to bring anything for nostalgia's sake, they need to bring back Star Fox.
In 2020, up to $70 for AAA games, the reality is that the industry just hasn't kept pace. Over the same time period, from 1990s to today, wages, marketing, and development costs have all skyrocketed. Game studios are spending exponentially more money than they ever did in the...
And I think it even skyrocketed because of COVID too, because people losing jobs and having to work at home.
90s or early 2000s, so the profit made on the sale of a single game has shrunk year over year. If we were to adjust in line with inflation from the early days of gaming to today, AAA games would be priced well over $100, maybe even $150 to be able to match today's financial realities. Now, all of that makes sense with nuance removed. However, we don't live in a world without nuance. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of games that are released today make far more money past the point of sale.
Yes,
Something
they
that
do.
didn't exist back when games were being made in the 90s.
And this is how they make their money. They make it with skins, DLCs, microtransactions. Like, there's no way you can't tell me Call of Duty, when it got released, has not made its money back or more that they invested into it. There's no way you can tell me it hasn't. Same with, what's another game that came out recently? I mean, Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is a free game. But I bet you a lot of people buy these skins. They're like, what is that, 16? I don't know. Like, Street Nova. The Cowgirl skin that I use. You'll probably see in the video coming up too. It was $12.80. It was over. They don't have a $20 bundle, so it's $15 to $30 is like in between. I just bought a $30 bundle and paid it. It's like $20 if you want to do the math. So I had $10 left over that I just used for whatever. But like, the game's free, so them charging $30 to $40 for a skin kind of makes sense because they need that money. But when a game costs $70, and then they put in their microtransactions and skins, and they want $40 to $50 for a skin, and you're sitting like, hold on, I just paid almost $100 for this game, and you're gonna charge me more for skins. This is to the point where, like, I also play Withering Waves and another gacha game. And to this day, I've never put money into it to see what characters I can get. I want to see, like, how bad is it. And so far, like, I've gotten characters, and like, a couple of them have been legendary, so, like, you don't really have to put money in some of these games. It's just a lot of people do because they want to support, or they like the skin. Right? I tried with Marvel Rivals, I really did. It's really good. It definitely beats Overwatch, but Street Nova, the way it plays, and it feels like 3 games into one. It just feels better.
In early 2000s, while they still had
But it's a good
merchandise,
game.
toys,
Good game.
and clothing and other different
But
things
they're
that they
good
could
games.
sell, now today games have DLC, loot boxes, gotcha, and gambling mechanics.
This is the voice actress for Shadowheart is in this game. This is Withering Waves. I've still not gotten this skin or this character. I think it has like 19 days left before it disappears, or I have to recheck it. It might be gone already. But I'll log in, do my quest to get enough just to get one spin, and most of the times it's just a blue, which is like a weapon. I haven't got anything above a gold in a while. I would love to get this character, but that's when you don't put money into it. That's your risk. Like, the pulls aren't going to be that good, or the rolls.
Microtransactions, expansions, collector's editions, and more. I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that video game companies aren't.
Speaking of statues, this proves the argument. I have a Gears of War 3 statue. I didn't pay for it, but my uncle gave it to me. He bought the Epic Edition, and it comes with all memorabilia from Adam Phoenix, the lore about the Hammer Dawn, and some cute art and stuff. And a big old statue of Marcus Phoenix kneeling and putting it resting on a lancer, chainsaw lancer. I just thought that was neat. Speaking of statues.
Aren't making enough money today, or there aren't enough ways for them to make money.
And back then, those games were like $50 to $40. Now they want $70 to $100, and they still do the same stuff, which is crazy.
However, games journalist and industry analyst Matthew Ball are going to try to tell us otherwise. In an article written by Eddie Mackich titled GTA 6...
I'm telling you right now, if 2K does this, or Take-Two, whoever, if they make GTA 6 $100, the gaming industry is dead at that point. I'm going to call it right now. Because EA's going to do it, Ubisoft's going to do it, and all these other companies that are already struggling, like BioWare, etc., they're going to do it so quick, and they're gonna cry when it doesn't work for them, and they're gonna be like, "What's happening? Y'all paid this much for GTA?" It's like, yeah, GTA is massive. It's gonna be a huge game. I'll be surprised if it's not a huge game. I'm not gonna buy it because I'm gonna wait for it on PC, and then even when it comes out on PC, I'm probably gonna wait till it's on sale, but like Christmas or the holidays or some kind of holiday. Maybe even a spring sale, for all I know. I'm not going to pay full. So if they're going to charge $100, I'll wait till it's like 70 or 30 or whatever. Like, I'll wait. I'm glad at waiting. I watch content more than I play new games. Like, I watch gameplays of games before I buy them. I think with the whole Cyberpunk fiasco that happened, and I forget what other game it came out that was bad at launch. But with the games that are coming out, it feels like you're paying to be a game early accessor. Like you're paying for game preview, which is so stupid. I didn't waste my money to play a game that's not fully developed yet. And I get it, they put the little labels and be like, "Oh, it's a game alpha, blah, blah, blah." But, like, I suspect that with a small studio or an indie studio, because they need help developing their game, it's like if it's one person that made the game and be like, "Okay, we need people to play this so that way we know what to fix," and stuff like that, sure. But when you have a team of, like, the 100, 200... you should set aside some people to be like, "Okay, go play this. Go see how it runs and give me feedback." This is why game testers, in my opinion, are more important than some of these other like titles in the gaming world. And I'm not gonna get much into it, but if you know, you know. Some of these people are put in the positions that they don't belong in, and like, it's just Let's just get back into the debate.
Could cost as much as $100.
I'll go
Some hope.
on that too.
Analyst clarifies comments. If Take-Two raises prices to $80 or more, other publishers could apparently follow suit. Eddie writes, veteran investment analyst and researcher Matthew.
State of video gaming in 2025 and some presentations looks at how the video game industry can possibly grow in 2025. I don't know if it'll grow much. Mostly when new people look at these games that are coming out now, they'll be like, "Ugh, I don't want to buy that." How player time and player spent might return to growth. Right now, it's costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. Is it launching this year? I don't think it is. Let me look this up. I know this is an old article probably, but late 2025 to 2026 for PC. I don't think it's coming late 25. I swear I think it's going to get delayed. Even GTA Online got delayed. He got delayed like 6 to 7 months. Like, it was basically another year before he got released.
Ball of Opinion has released a gargantuan 219-page report about the state of video gaming in 2025, and some of the presentation looks at how the video game industry could possibly grow in 2025. In a section titled How Player, Playtime, and Player Spend Might Return to Growth, Ball mentioned a variety of opportunities, including Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. Ball said that there is hope among some in the game market that Take-Two will price GTA 6 at $80 or even $100, which could prove as a turning point for the video game industry.
This is actually
could break
good
a key
gameplay.
price barrier and allow
who's
developers to
playing
raise
right
their
now.
prices as well, he said. Before this, a Baldur's Gate 3 developer said
Punisher.
a GTA 6 could prompt a shift to more expensive games if
Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios have become like my favorite game company. Like, they are the most based people ever. It is so refreshing to have people with normal ideas and that are in it not for the money, but are in it to make good quality games and want to tell a fantastic story. And it seems that they treat voice actors and actresses very well. So maybe even I don't know how their internal is, but I think from what I've read from other developers of Larian Studios, they treat their employees pretty good too. But anything can hide behind the curtains. So
Take-Two decides to price it above $70. In a series of follow-up posts, Ball shared further key updates, including how GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms, with GTA 5 costing $83. Ball added, your rent is up, movie tickets have doubled, minimum wage, Spotify, Netflix, bus fare, gas.
everything is a subscription service. And I told my grandpa he's not really big into the whole technology, but he does use like TV and stuff. And I told him, I was like, watch this. And this was a conversation back after I left high school in 2016, after I graduated. I was like, watch what's going to happen in the next couple of years. I think everything's going to turn to a subscription service. You're going to be paying for TV subscription, music subscription, movie subscription. Everything's just going to be subscription service. He didn't believe me at first until like 2019, 2020 started coming around. And he was like, you're right. ESPN had their own subscription service thing that came out. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, it just kept going on, and now it's even worse. And like, it's getting to the point where you have to pick and choose what you want and what you don't want. Like, do I want Crunchyroll? Do I like anime that much to pay $13 a month to watch anime? Yes or no? Do I want YouTube Premium to watch ads-free YouTube and have YouTube Music? Do I use it that much? Do I watch Netflix a lot? Do I like it? It's so bad, and I'm hoping for the God. I know there's already some games that require a subscription service, but I'm hoping that gaming doesn't turn to that where you have to pay monthly just to play games. Like, you need to pay $10 a month just to even play a Ubisoft title, like Siege or whatever. Like, that will straight up kill the video game industry. Instantly. All of it would die. That's why I love Steam. I don't have to pay anything for Steam. You can literally, like, you buy a computer for, like, I don't know, $600. Fix it up yourself. Maybe you can even do it cheaper. Go to Steam, make a profile. It's free. Go to their free store section. You can play free games, and a lot of them are pretty good. Stream Nova, free game. Marvel Rivals, free game. Fortnite, free game. Or that's an Epic game, but you can download Epic for free too. And Epic even gives you free games. Most of the times it's not good, but like, look, I'll pull up my Epics right now. I'll just prove it. Oh, I have not put any money into Epic. And I'll show you all the games I got for free over the years, or 2 to 3 years now of me having an Epic account. All of these games are mine. I can download them and play them. These are free. All free. And some of them are pretty good. All you have to do is go to your store and go down to here. And they'll post their games that are for free. And you just pick whatever one you want. Most of the times they are like these. But you can get free games. Like you don't have to put money in some of these games, and the fact that they want more, it's just gonna make stuff like this become more relevant. Like people are just gonna want free games at that point. They're not gonna worry about spending money. That's because of how the cost of living is right now. It's just so bad.
etc. Indeed, nearly all categories are up, not just flat in real terms, while games are at record lows. He went on to say Rockstar's cost isn't sufficient to set the price, but the argument games should be the only thing never to adjust for inflation, and thus be, in the strictest terms, worth less every year, is not healthy either or a good argument, in my opinion. Ball was not making a prediction himself that GTA 6 would cost $100, only that there is a belief in the market by some that it could happen. For his money, Ball said that GTA 6 will cost $70.
Yeah,
I can't believe I
will.
have to say this, but customers only ever care about inflation when said inflation affects them and their money. $100 is $100. Whether it's 1990 or 2025, no matter how you spin it, what excuses you make, or what numbers you point to, the vast majority of people just flat out cannot afford those prices and will have a far more difficult time justifying buying games day one or
When I worked make it $7.25, even at $60, I rarely bought games at full price. I would go to GameStop and see if there was a used copy of a brand new game and hope that they marked it down a little bit. Like it was that bad for me working for $7.25, barely getting like 30 hours. It was bad.
buying games at all. My friends with kids buy maybe 1-2 games a year, or they just spend their money on indie games because they're far cheaper, they tend to have more replay value, and they don't take as long to complete. My friends without...
So true on that. A lot of indie games do have way more replay value than AAA titles.
kids, well, they work too much and they can't even justify buying a $70 game, and they just choose to play free-to-play games instead. Gen Z is so maladjusted and ambivalent due to the pandemic that they can't even find work, and even if they do, they can't hold jobs for long. Heck, the vast majority of them are choosing to become NEETs out of choice. Who are they planning to sell these games to, and where are they going to find the money? When Ball mentions how GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms, he's talking about how the price of GTA, adjusting for inflation, was priced above inflation at the time, making $59.99 feel like $90 at the time. And
the problem is with not working is you kind of need money for like having a place to live. Let's say you don't really care that much, then you need to worry about, if you are a gamer, you need to worry about internet, and you can't really use free hotspots because they don't run very well. I've seen funny videos of people bringing in like game consoles and like a fold screen TV or whatever, and they'll bring those into like McDonald's or whatever and start playing Fortnite. That was pretty funny back then, but like I can't see you doing that for like a whole year. Like you have to make money, and I know working sucks. I work way too much, in my opinion, but like I have to do it. It's just something everyone has to do. You have to learn to live with it. A lot of people want to make it big, but a lot of people don't.
And that's why it should be completely fine for games to be $90 or $100 today. Here's the other thing they're missing. $100 isn't just a number. It's a cultural touchstone. It's a psychological threshold that makes consumers think twice before making a purchase. Crossing that $100 mark makes a statement. It's saying that this product is now a luxury tier item, something that isn't just an impulse buy, but an investment.
So true. So true. I even feel that way with $70. Like when I see a brand new game and I see they're wanting $70, I have to battle with myself to be like, okay, do I want to trust this product into being fully done, not to have that many bugs, and it's actually good to play and fun to play. Like I have to constantly battle with myself, and most of the times it's no. Actually, a lot of times it's no. But like I said, Baldur's Gate 3, I paid full for it. I went straight in. I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition, but I went straight in with it. And same with Stalker 2. I bought the Ultimate Edition just to help them out because of the whole Ukraine situation. I wanted to help a little bit because I knew they lost their studio. But that game did not run very well. And in my opinion, it was written like a Call of Duty slash Metro type game. And I already went and rated it. You can find it on my videos. If you go down to my live stream or videos tab, you'll find it somewhere. But yeah, like you have to battle now, and if they're going to want 100 or more, like I don't think I'll ever will ever again buy full price. I would never. I will hold myself to that to never buy full price.
Whether it's worth it or not. And that's when that feeling hits the hardest. It's not just about the price tag, it's about the perception of value and what people can reasonably spend in an already stretched economy. Look, a $100 purchase feels like it demands a justification. I can't tell you guys how many times I had to overcome dread when I was wanting to upgrade from a $30 webcam and a $50 microphone. For many, this is going to be a breaking point. The moment where games start to feel more like an exclusive club for the people that can afford it and less like a pastime accessible to anyone who loves the medium. It's a barrier that not only reflects inflation, but also sets the tone for how the industry views its audience. One where only a select few can afford or truly engage with what the industry has to offer. I just hate how disingenuous all of this is. Ball says the prices for all things are up, and the idea that games need to stay the same price isn't fair, conveniently ignoring the fact that while the upfront price of games has remained relatively stable, the way that games are monetized has changed drastically. In-game purchases, microtransactions, season passes, battle passes, and expensive collector's editions have all become the norm. Game companies have found new, more aggressive
AAA and F2P share wallets. In-game spending accounts are...
ways to squeeze every dollar from the player far beyond the original price tag.
See, the thing with free-to-play, like, that it makes sense that they want to get more money from their microtransactions, but AAA charging $70 to $100 and they still want more from their microtransactions is crazy to me.
A $60 to $70 game is no longer just...
And I don't think many people do DLCs, like paid DLCs anymore. Most of them are just content updates because it wasn't in the game to begin with. That's why I give CD Projekt Red props what they would do with Cyberpunk. Like, they still are pushing out updates. Like, big content updates. Some of them are just fixes, but they had it a whole DLC. And it wasn't even that expensive to get the DLC. And they got a pretty good, like, line of cast for it. Like, it felt good. It was a good DLC. I have to do a video. I'm going to do a video playing it. I've technically fully I beat it on console, but I never beat it on PC. I just like playing around on PC a lot more. Like, just exploring Night City. But, yeah. That would be the next live stream or video coming out.
It's an entry point. To truly experience whatever the game has to offer, players are often pressured into spending far more in additional content. Customers aren't just paying more, they're paying far beyond what they originally bargained.
I say most skins will cost around $25 to $30. Doesn't matter if it's AAA or free to play. That's usually the price that I've seen most of them go for. And then you have, if they're a gacha type game where they have loot boxes, you have even more that it could cost. Like, for example, with CSGO, I probably spent upwards already to $1,000 in spins. I've never seen a red on the wheel. I've seen gold, but the highest thing I've ever got in my inventory is a purple. I haven't even got a pink yet. The only pinks I have are from purple upgrades. Like, trade-ups. It's so stupid. Whereas Street Nova, I've only gambled twice with rolls using actual money. And one time I got a red and a purple. And the other time I got like 3 golds and a blue. So, like, I'm doing something right. Or they're more forgiving with their rolls. I don't know. But, yeah.
For, and that's what should be addressed, not just the price tag on the box. And what's even more funny about all of this is the fact that the writer of this article actually ended up using the Baldur's Gate 3 developers' words out of context. And by the way, if you guys have paid attention at all to journalism over the last couple of years, they've been using Baldur's Gate 3 developers.
They villainized Baldur's Gate 3. They wanted people to hate Baldur's Gate 3, but when Game Awards came out, I knew instantly. I was like, nah, they're going to win everything. And they did. They won Player Choice. They won Game of the Year. They won everything. It's like, no matter how they try to villainize Baldur's Gate 3, they pulled out on top. And in my opinion, they're still the best game. I don't know what's going to come out in 2025 this year, but in 2024, nothing topped Baldur's Gate 3. Nothing.
Developers out of context.
You could say it maybe with Black Myth Wukong, and that's a toss-up still, but I still think Baldur's Gate 3 has way more replayability than any of those games that came out in 2024.
Constantly, because they think it adds some type of emotional weight to whatever their words are. Like, oh, look, here's this great developer that made a game that everybody loves saying that they agree with us, when 9 times out of 10, their words are completely out of context. They used it here saying that everybody's just waiting for GTA to increase the price, acting like the Baldur's
Sorry, I got my food. All right, let's get back into the video.
Gate 3 developers want GTA to increase the price, when the original tweet that they had made was talking about how much they hated artificial price structures and gouging that we see in today's gaming industry. The original tweet actually said, "I don't love the artificiality of pricing structures post-retail. Use the inflated base price to upsell a subscription and use vague content promises to inflate ultimate editions to make the base price look better. It all seems a bit dangerous and disconnected from the community."
So true. Some of these Ultimate Editions you can't even justify. They'll be like $130 for 7-day early access, and it's like, why? Why would I pay an extra $60 to play something that probably isn't going to run well?
I think that games should be priced according to its quality, breadth, and depth. I'm not against higher prices, but this arbitrary uniformity just doesn't make sense to me.
Money.
It feels so unserious. I'm going to go off for a second. Don't you guys love how every single time they like to twist things to be able to suit whatever their narrative is, and everything is always coming from the perspective of the industry and never from the perspective of the player, of the customer, the people that are actually spending money on these things to begin with? Because we are never a priority. We are never at the forefront of discussion.
So true.
We are never at the forefront of their mind when they're making these decisions. And then they sit back and they wonder why games are failing and studios are closing. I don't know. How could that possibly happen? The prices for everything is going up. You're absolutely right. Now that I think about it, you know what hasn't gone up with inflation? The general quality and day one performance of video games. Even some of the best games that we've seen released over the last few years can't even hit a standardized level of quality. We are spending $60 to $70 on brand new day one video games that we have to sit there and hold the bag because the game's not even finished, because it's always the minimum viable.
I just went into that. But yeah, like literally. Sorry, I'm chewing a lot, but sorry, but it's literally the point where you're basically paying to be a game previewer, and then you have to hold on that game for another like 4 months before the game's somewhat good or in a stable state. It's bad, and I don't know how Elder Scrolls is going to be, but I'm worried for Elder Scrolls 6. That's why I'm kind of hoping Take-Two or two or take whatever doesn't charge $100 for GTA 6, because I already know their Elder Scrolls says it will follow the same suit. Be like, oh, you love Skyrim so much? Well, give us $100 for this one.
product that's being released to us, and we have to wait for them to finish the game for us to be able to play it. But let me take a wild guess and say they're probably going to try to blame the price of things on that as well. They want to talk about how expensive it is to make games today. You know, my question is, why are we the ones that need to keep up with you and your spending? We didn't sign up for that. When I look around the industry, I see some of the most successful games over the last few years: Baldur's Gate 3, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2. These games are made with a quarter of the budget of some of these big, flashy AAA games that nobody ended up buying in the first place. You guys are making tens of billions of dollars. The vast majority of the money that is made in this industry is coming from microtransactions. This is not my problem. The sheer cowardice of these companies to sit by and wait for somebody else to increase prices because they know it's a game, or they think it's a game that everybody's going to buy, and it's going to be the best way to just sneak that price change in. And that is so telling, because you are pathetic and you realize that your games wouldn't sell. Asman, thanks for unpausing. Eddie continues with...
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Like, it's always who steps over that line first. And I think it was the same way with the $70 pitch. I think EA was the first ones to step over the line. I think. I'm not positive on that. But when one person did it, they all follow suit. And now $70 is the base price for all these games that are coming out now. And now it's in GTA's court. When GTA comes out, they'll be like, all right, GTA, what are you going to do, 70 or 100? And if they do 100, more will start stepping in that line. And then it will be the new norm. And then the next Ultimate game will come out. They'll be like, all right, $130. Who's going to step over that line? It's just going to keep going that way until something changes. And I think what's going to change is people are just going to go to indie studios and rely on them. And I think that's kind of bad for indie studios because then people are going to have that expectation to be, okay, your game is cheap, so it better be like this $100 game. And it's like, dude, this has like one person working on it. Like, calm down. Like, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna help and hurt small studios.
With $70 is the current market rate for new AAA releases, and in fact, it was Take-Two that was among the first to raise prices from $60 to $70 back in 2020. Many are naturally wondering if Take-Two might raise prices again for GTA 6's launch. But it remains to be seen if that'll happen. Beyond updating the sticker price for games, video publishers have found other ways to be able to make more money out of players, including expensive editions, microtransactions, and battle passes, just to name a few. GTA 5, for example, has sold 205...
I swear it was EA. Wasn't it an NBA game? I swear it was an NBA game that came out of $70. Because GTA 5 was not $70.
Million copies and brings in a lot of money in microtransactions in GTA Online. Early predictions have said that GTA 6 could sell 40 million copies and earn more than $3 billion in revenue during its first year alone. Ball said that GTA 6's launch this year will have mixed impact on total player hours and revenue across the gaming industry because it'll only be available on console. A PC release is expected after the console launch. However, Ball said that GTA 6 will severely cannibalize total hours and spending that would go to other video games when it launches. For its part, Ubisoft said GTA 6 is a good thing for the video game industry overall because a huge game like that may help more people turn to gaming. Some of the other areas that Ball listed off as having potential for growth in 2025 included further expansions into non-core markets, user-generated content, social game services, the Nintendo Switch 2, other new handhelds and devices, AA, AAA, mobile gaming, app store regulation, new game releases.
Haven't done a handheld since 3DS. That was the only handheld I had. But yeah, I don't do handheld. I don't even do mobile gaming, so that doesn't really affect me as much. I know my dad has a Switch, but I don't play it. I did play it when we had the hurricane thing and the power went out. I did play Dark Souls Remaster, and I beat it within 2 days. So, and I don't know if it was just my luck on the Switch or what, but like literally all the Black Knights were dropping all their stuff. They dropped their sword and shields. I almost had an armor set. It was crazy. Like, I'm not even talking about like the end of the game. I'm talking about just the ones that you could find in the base game. They all I think only one didn't drop anything other than like its Titanite that it normally drops. But the rest have dropped like weapons, armor. It was crazy.
Is generative AI and advertising. Make this make sense. I do not understand how GTA 6, projecting 40 million copies sold and $3 billion in revenue in its first year, is somehow a footnote in a discussion as to why other games should increase their prices to $100. They are failing to realize why GTA 5 did so well, why GTA 6 is likely to do even better, or why it could even sell for $100 in the first place. You're not even thinking about what the impact of a price increase would be on other games and other studios outside of one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. $70 is the new current market rate for AAA releases? No, I think it's the going market rate for trash. The best releases on PC over the past 2 years have been $60. I mean, take a minute to think about it. If game prices were $100...
They've been less. Balatro, $15. Meeside, $15. Lethal Company, I think, is like $15 to $20, if not less. There's a lot of indie studios that like barely go above the $30 mark, and in my opinion, they make more money on PC than AAA titles do.
Today, what games would have realistically come out at $100? Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Diablo 4, Call of Duty, The Sims, sports games, trash.
The Sims is terrible. Like, oh my god. Like, look at this. This is how they make their money. And it's the scummiest thing to do. Look, Sims 4. And I have it. They made the game free because they knew. But they charge you just as much for content that should be... And like this, the kits, should be in the game. Base game. They should not be charging $5 per. But if you do the math and add all of these... Let me scroll up. I don't know what this is going to show. Even though I typed in Sims 4. They have 90 DLCs for this game. I wish someone could do the math and like, because they're not all the same price. Like $40, $40 they want for a DLC. And in my opinion, the only ones that matter are the kits. None of them matter. To be honest, the kits shouldn't even be able to be sold. It is so stupid that they charge $5 per kit. But, like, this is how EA makes their money. And the thing is, the Sims community, they don't complain about this at all. I mean, they might hold grudges for EA for doing this, but most of the times, they'll pay. I've only ever paid for, like, to get the game, and you get, like, 3 bundles. Like, I'll do that, but I don't think I've ever fully paid for a bundle. Definitely not pay full price. Like $40 for something that should probably already been in the game at day one, but whatever.
Generic slop, and in some cases, absolute dumpster fires. And while some of them still would have reached an audience,
like,
they wouldn't have reached an audience of the same size because they would have cut off their leg to save a foot in regards to the game's price. I mean, think about what you're saying here. Even Ball mentions how GTA 6 is likely to cannibalize the sales and playtime of other games when they're released. Now imagine these morons raising their prices to $100. Good games sell well and bad games don't. And from my perspective, if the price of games were to increase, it's going to price a lot of players out of a lot of games, and the entire market is going to shift. Good games will sell well, and bad games won't sell at all. which means a minor mistake could have catastrophic consequences for some of these studios, and the gap between successes is going to become an ocean many studios cannot cross. I do not understand why the conversation isn't focused around how much money these companies are spending on games. Companies that cannot properly budget their own projects, set realistic sales projections, or even target an audience's needs properly. Ubisoft spends hundreds of millions of dollars on a busted-ass pirate ship simulator. EA invested hundreds.
I was so sad for Skull and Bones because that game has so much potential to be a new Sea of Thieves, and they ruined it.
Of millions into an educational HR video disguised as Dragon Age. And we have so many more studios that are torching millions of dollars on bloated games filled with busy work and realistic eyelashes. What are we doing here? This industry is in a state of entropy where they just keep pressing forward, they keep spending more money, they're adding nothing to the core experience, and the customer is the one that is expected to keep up with their spending. They want to blame the failures of the industry on not making enough money, only to distract from the fact that it's their fault that people are losing their jobs. Studios are closing and sales are dwindling. I actually read through Matthew Ball's 223-page presentation, and he unwittingly proved it himself. In 2020, IDC, Google, ARC, and SMP all made projections on what they thought the industry would look like with its growth in the coming years. They viewed the pandemic boom as an accelerant, not an anomaly. Yes, these idiots thought that COVID was the future. ARC Investments forecasted that the industry would grow by 50% in 4 years, from $200 billion to $300 billion. Meaning that investors, blindly trusting speculators, ran to invest in these companies and publishers, and in turn, those companies, flush with cash, invested heavily into their new future. Only for them to be met with the crushing reality that none of those predictions would come true, outside of Amperes. So if you're going to use them for...
A lot of people come into video gaming even though they had nothing to do with it when it was somewhat relevant. And then when COVID hit, everyone's like, oh, gaming's going to be the new thing. Everyone's going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then investors invest, even though they know nothing about the gaming industry. And who do they invest in? The big dogs. EA, Ubisoft, whatever. And now you look at them, they're not doing that well.
For investment, they're actually probably the better bet.
I swear Ubisoft's on the verge of collapse. I really do think. I think if this new Assassin's Creed game doesn't make them money, there's going to be layoffs and probably, literally, the only thing that's keeping Ubisoft relevant is Siege. I'll be real. That's the only game that's still keeping them relevant. So we'll see what happens with Ubisoft. But I think they'll be the first ones to collapse.
They don't want game prices to increase for inflation. They want game prices to increase to make up for their colossal financial hole that they've dug themselves into. The pandemic led to a wave of overly optimistic projections. Popular forecasters and analysts predicted that gaming would experience perpetual growth, an assumption that was rooted in a brief surge during lockdowns. These predictions were reckless, overlooking the fundamental truth. Once the pandemic subsided, people had to return to the working world. Inflation would then hit hard. I think a lot of people forget just how much of an impact stimulus checks had in the U.S. You had people that were low-income and middle-class earners that were making more money through unemployment than they ever did while they were employed. This ended up leading to a lot of unrealistic and excessive spending, especially given how much time they had on their hands. How the hell could you believe that the sales and engagement gaming saw in 2020 and 2021 would stay the same? Then I found out just how delusional they are when I came across a slide that was talking about the shortfall of spending and how players were spending less money and how there were less hours that were spent in games and how that led to an unprecedented number of commercial disappointments and flops. Forspoken, Skull and Bones, Concord, Halo.
These are, I'm going to rate as flops. Yes, it sucked. Sucked. Let down. This is actually good. Let down. Sucked. Honestly, sucked. I have it on Epic and tried to play it. Man, it ain't no Dead Space, even though it tries to be. I didn't even know they made a mobile version. Halo Infinite sucked. I don't care what people say. Even this online sucked. Guardians, I'd never played, so I don't know. Prince, never played. Battlefield Mobile, didn't even know they made a mobile. It's kind of funny. Never played. Never even heard of. Never heard or played. Sucked. Sucked. This killed Microsoft. Like, it put Microsoft in it super red. I think Indiana Jones might have helped Microsoft a little bit, but this put them in the red. Like, everyone's making fun of Microsoft. Sucked and never heard of.
Infinite, Redfall, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar. These games didn't fail because of some esoteric lack in spending. It's because these games sucked. Now, after I saw this, it got me thinking. I'll admit that I was taken aback when I saw just how much the industry had receded after 2020. I had expected a decline, sure, but not to that extent. It took me a while to process it, so I started comparing some of the numbers with some of the other charts in the presentation, and then I stumbled upon something eye-opening. For a while now, I've had this ongoing theory in my mind that the so-called silent majority, those unengaged, uneducated masses that the industry often points to, doesn't actually exist in the way they think they do. I've always believed that the controversies and the complaints that we see from gamers are more than just the noise of a toxic vocal minority. They have a real, tangible effect on how players spend their money and engage with games. And as much as these develop...
I know this triggers game journalists, because game journalists for some reason think that they hold all the power in the decision making to get people to buy their games, or get not to buy their games, but like buy whoever they're writing an article for. But most of the times, people, if they hear what a game journalist is calling good, that they'll be like, "Oh no, this game's probably bad. I'm not gonna buy it then." Because of how bad the journalism is. The whole journalism scene in general, whether it be politics or regular, like, in my opinion, I think now a lot of people have woken up to not even trust them, which is so sad. It's like, if people can't even trust the press, whether it be gaming or not, why even do your job? Like, why? Like, I never read one single gaming article, like, the full. I read bits and pieces of like YouTube videos like this, but never like me myself go read an article.
Developers and journalists would try to dismiss it. I think our collective opinions hold more weight than they give us credit for. The slide in the presentation that caught my eye was the one that showed that while US GDP and world GDP were on the rise, indicating that global overall spending was up, player spending dropped 13% from 2021 to 2024. That's a pretty...
$31 billion. Jesus. And it's probably even worse now. That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
Significant dip. And it made me think, what other industry exploded alongside gaming during this period? Social media. And guess what? Social media didn't take the same dive that gaming did. So think about it. Players who would have normally not been involved in gaming communities suddenly found themselves more connected than ever. The silent majority, those once quiet and unaware of the broader gaming world, became a part of it during COVID. They began engaging with games on a deeper level, and their awareness grew. They didn't buy into what was just being fed to them. They started thinking critically and evaluated their purchases, participating in some of these online communities and sharing their thoughts on other platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and Twitch. And I think that Twitch is a really good example of this, because while their viewership has dipped a little bit since 2021, they still retained a lot of the audience that they captured during COVID, and they haven't fallen back to their pre-2020 numbers. That shows a community that stuck around, that was once passive consumers, is now much more active and informed. You have a group of customers who have returned to the workforce, who have less money to spend due to inflation, who likely picked up on a couple of YouTube channels or Twitch streamers that are talking about different issues that are going on in the industry, and they're still watching. They're still engaging with that content. This isn't just a trend. It's a fundamental change in how we as consumers, as customers, as players engage with this industry. We're not just the ones buying games anymore. We are shaping the conversations around them. We are shaping what their sales look like at the end of the day. And I think the developers and journalists are starting to realize this, even if they're reluctant to admit it. The players really are the ones with all the power. When you look at the growth of social media and you see how many people are connected to it, it's at a point where it's...
I don't know, like, that's not even a hard thing to comprehend. Okay, how do we get people... You make a social media app. The people who run your app have power in what is put on the app. But, and more important, the customers that use your app have all the power. because without them, you won't be making any money. Now put it into gaming. You need people to buy your game. You could put billions or millions of dollars into your game, and you can even have investors invest into your game. But at the end of the day, you still need people to buy your game and play your game. It's not that hard to comprehend.
Oversaturation, we're still seeing the same levels of engagement during the lockdown days. That they're still the same. A lot of the channels probably have seen even more growth since then. I would guarantee if I went out and I started polling some of the people that blew up or got big or anything like that during COVID, they probably still retained a lot of their audience, except for some of those Minecraft guys. But that's a completely different story. They did that to themselves for the most part. But I think what the industry doesn't realize, or maybe they just don't want to realize it, that's probably really what it is that players are still engaged in all these discussions. All the views are still coming in on videos, all the tweets and all the Reddit stuff is still getting upvotes and all that good stuff. People are talking about the industry, but they're not buying the games and they're not playing the games. So what does that mean? That means that they're out there involved in these communities and they're avoiding games. You cannot tell me that all the controversy that was surrounding Dragon Age the Veilguard didn't affect its sales. People waited for reviews. They felt the general vibe of the game, and they avoided the game. And as such, the game failed. In most cases, a game with...
I mean, I was never a big Dragon Age guy. I didn't even play Dragon Age 2 and all of them. They were on sale during Christmas for the holidays, but I didn't want to buy them. But the only one I played was Inquisition. Even then, when I played Inquisition, I thought it was all right. I mean, it wasn't like game breaking. Like opened my eyes to a whole new world. But then I saw the trailer where it's a bunch of the OG casts from Inquisition, and a lot of them look different. And they did that whole I respond to they now. She's not a her no more, and like that was a trailer that they put out, and that was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna buy this. if we're doing this, like, come on. My biggest philosophy is no matter what side you believe in, don't put politics in video games. Don't put your beliefs out there for people, because you're gonna be villainized. You're gonna have a side already pitched in, and it's just like it helps you with your community that you are talking about, but it also hurts you. Like, you're gonna and you have to determine what's better, making a political point or making money. And when you're a company with 100 or so people or more, you kind of need to worry about making money more than making a political point. But that's just me.
With that name, a game that has that much cultural weight, Dragon Age should have sold regardless. It still should have did really well, but it didn't. And why is it? Well, it's because people are paying attention to videos or watching videos. They're keeping up on previews and stuff like that. They're going off of the vibe before they actually go to buy. And as such, they're avoiding stuff that they don't think is worth their money. You know, one thing that the analysts and the journalists aren't talking about is why GTA could sell for $100. The reason why is it's because it's a cultural phenomenon. It has been a cultural phenomenon. It's a massive game. And the thing is that there's a lot of players that are out there that have overhyped the game in a lot of cases, but it's one of the most anticipated releases in forever, it feels like. And some people are confident the game is going to deliver, but I think a lot of people are going to buy it even if it doesn't, because they're just going to do it.
That's what I said. Like, literally, GTA, it could be the biggest flop of the millennia, of 100 or so years, and there'll still be people buying it for 100, if not more. That's how much of a foothold GTA has in the gaming world. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but these other companies that think that they have as much power as GTA are delusional. Even in my opinion, Skyrim with Bethesda, they don't even have near a quarter of what power GTA has. And Skyrim was very popular back in 2011. It was very popular.
Do it. Simple as that. And there's a level of confidence there, consumer confidence, that I don't think exists anywhere else in the industry right now. Maybe there's a couple of studios that are out there that people are like, for sure, I'll buy one of their games. FromSoft is like that for a lot of people. Larian's.
Yeah, Larian. I don't know. Larian, other than Baldur's Gate 3, I haven't really played any of their other games. But they've been good. But CD Projekt Red's like that for me. Most indie studios, if I like the game, I will buy it full price. But like AAA title game studios, like I haven't bought a Call of Duty in I don't know how long. I haven't bought a Halo game. Haven't bought a Gears of War, but I probably will watch footage of Gears of War E-Day to see if I want to buy it if it comes on PC. What else? Haven't bought any EA games at full price or day one. Definitely haven't bought any Ubisoft games at day one. I haven't even bought a Ubisoft game in I don't know how long. I think Siege was like my last Ubisoft purchase.
It's now become one of those studios as well. I'm sure
There's other
people will
videos.
probably pick up on
I
games.
wanted to talk about the new VTuber New Me thing, but I'm too new, so I don't think I can talk about it as much. But maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see how this
Science
reaction
Saber,
does.
whatever it might be. But outside of that, the vast majority of games, most people are relatively leery about.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of studios. Anytime any game comes out, I'm pretty nervous because I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work day one. I don't know if it's going to be worth my money. I don't know if they're going to deliver on all the promises, even with the gameplay trailers and stuff like that. Because
trailers are so bad now. Most of them literally are CGI, like literally no gameplay at all, and then they still suspect you to want to buy it. It's like I will go watch pay for a movie if I watch a movie trailer. I'll go watch the movie. That doesn't work with gaming. Gaming, you need to show gameplay. You don't have to spoil gameplay, like spoil big plots or whatever, but we have to see gameplay in your trailers. And most of the times, these studios only put CGI trailers out or some kind of animation to keep you invested. It's so stupid. Is the dumbest thing. And if they're talking about money, maybe don't spend money on that. Maybe just a quick trailer with a few gameplay will cost probably less than a CGI trailer that you probably need to hire artists and editors and whatever. Like, it's so stupid.
We've had games in the past that have showed us gameplay trailers and the game didn't play anything like it.
Yep, that's true too.
Sure, you're going to have some people that are out there that are going to be habit buyers, and they will just go and pick up Grand Theft Auto, and I'm sure probably the same thing will happen for like sports games and stuff like that too.
Happens with sports, happens with Grand Theft Auto, happens with Call of Duty. Literally, you have your day oneers that no matter what controversy they get into or whatever, there will always be people who buy day one. Even though they hate it, they'll valiantly say, "Oh, I hate this game so much." Well, then why'd you buy it at day one? Oh, I gotta play it. And it's like the same thing with Call of Duty. There are people grinding the gold day one, getting those gold skins for those guns. And it's like, when did gaming become like a job versus a hobby? Like, playing video games used to be a hobby. But now, for some people, it feels like a job, or to get their name out there, or to like get in the spotlight. Like, it's so stupid. Like, me, as much as I would love to become a full-fledged YouTuber, it also has me worried because, one, I like playing games I like to play. And for some people, that might not be fun to watch. So I have to balance between, okay, what's good to watch and what's fun for me to play. So it's hard. Like, I'm thinking about playing Red Faction and having it on Steam or on stream. But I'm like, how many people even remember Red Faction? Would that even make views? My highest view was from Stalker 2 telling people how to get past a certain part of a mission. It's almost like 2K views. I've never had that before, ever, on this channel. And I had this channel since 2013. I wasn't a full-fledged YouTuber. I would say probably around 2014, I started doing content recording on an iPad in front of my TV. I deleted all this, so I don't have to worry about it. But That's how I used to record gameplay footage. I would just I had like a bar stool. I would set up in front of my TV, put a little iPad on it, press record, and post it on YouTube. That's how I recorded my gameplay footage because I didn't know about Elgatos and everything else. Like I was a kid, or not a kid. I was a teenager. But now that I'm an adult, I just stream and hope that I get noticed. That's what I do.
But I'm just going to be honest with you. There's just a lot of people that are out there that can't afford $100 video games. And this isn't a
That's
shot
true.
at people being like, oh, look at this broke boy or anything like that. Dude,
If I had to be reasonable, I see it like this: do I spend $100 on Steam to get skins for other games or buy indie games, or do I pay $100 for a full-fledged game? That's the point. $100 for me. I don't have a kid. I'm not even in a relationship. Still live with my parents. So like, $100 for me isn't game breaking, but I know for people who are single that live alone or have to worry about bills and stuff, like for them, $100 is a lot of money. And for me, just I don't spend $100 because of like I don't feel that it's just to do it. Like even $70 sometimes isn't just for me to buy it day one. And the way these titles have been coming out now, I don't think it ever will because something needs to happen in this game development market. Whether people need to just give people more time or get bad actors out of studios, I don't know. Something needs to change.
get it. Even like, I don't like spending that kind of money on something. I could write it off on my taxes and I'll still feel dirty doing it. And to be honest with you, with the rise in popularity for PC gaming, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a return to pirating. Just like in the early 2000s with CD.
Yeah, I think pirating literally on YouTube is so bad that I think they've qualled it down a little bit, but it was so bad that I would see animes that I've already watched on Crunchyroll on YouTube for free by some other dude's channel. And they'll have like content of like whatever, and then soon they'll start posting full-fledged anime episodes. No skips, no nothing. Just the full whole 12 seasons or 12 episodes. And I was like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, this is why am I paying $13 a month? And I think soon gaming will be the same way. Why do I even pay for a subscription service when I can pirate it?
They were overpriced. They were bulky. They were hard to store. They were easily damaged. 20, 30 bucks for a CD? Bro, it was too much money. Everybody flooded to LimeWire and Napster and stuff like that. And I guarantee you'll probably see the same thing here because a lot of it is based off of convenience. While general customers, I don't really think are really interested in pirating games, just general consumers, they will be if the industry prices them out of it because they were at one point in time with music. Back in the day, nobody had any problem downloading movies, TV shows, and music. And still in a lot of cases, people do. The only reason why they do it today is because it's convenient and relatively cheap in their eyes because they're spending it on subscription programs or whatever it is.
Yep.
This is going to be...
Subscription is the new CD. Everyone needed CDs back in, but now everybody needs a subscription service.
Devastating to the industry if they make this choice because...
And a lot of them are above $10 a month. It's just crazy because when you think, oh, $10 a month ain't that bad. But then when you have like 8 different things that you have to pay $10 a month for, you're sitting at $80. Like, and it gets worse and worse because some of them are way higher than $10. Crunch was 11, and then they went up to 13, and just that alone sent people over. And then them removing comments, which I think they need to bring back because, yeah, people are abusing it and being trolls with it. But like, I also seen good informative reviews to be like, oh, okay, I don't want to watch the show. The show's bad. Like that would help me out more than me having to go look. Cause I'll face it, Japan sometimes has some weird shows. Like they like some weird stuff over there. Whereas over here, it's like, it's kind of freaky over here.
Like I said before, listing off some of the games, think about the games that they would actually sell for $100. The vast majority of games that release in a year aren't.
I already see it coming though. $100 will be your new default price. I'm sorry to tell everyone this, but it will be. I already know it will be. Whether it be next year or this year or whatever, it will be.
Worth that kind of money. And you know for a fact, anytime there's...
You just going to have to start relying on Steam or whoever to have sales. Because that's going to stay. If it doesn't stay, then that'll be crazy to me. But you'll have to wait a year after a game comes out, and then it'll be on sale finally, and then you can play it. And you'll probably be left behind, but hey, you got it cheaper.
Some type of just generic blanket price increase. They're all going to go for it. And they're all going to fail.
Yep.
Outside of a handful, maybe 1, 2, 3 games a year, maybe. And the funny thing is that even those games are going to suffer because most people aren't going to be able to justify $300 on 3 games. That's crazy. You out of your mind? That's half a console. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Even a price.
It's crazy because if you really think about it, if let's say games do come out and it's $100 per game, 6 games can get you a good PC that you could probably play free games on. And Steam's free, so you don't even have to buy a subscription service. So the only thing you need to buy is a Wi-Fi. That's it. And they want people to justify this. And consoles now, like $700, $800, and it's like, dude, PC gaming. I was once a console nerd too. I thought Xbox was better than everybody, and then I got my first PC, and then I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is way better. There's a lot more content on a PC than a console. Oh man, it's sad. It is sad.
Price increase up to 8.
Although console gaming, sometimes, or not console, PC. If I'm not that smart when it comes to computers, but it seems like you need somewhat smarts to like build one or to know what you're doing. But I mean, most of the times you can just look it up on YouTube how to build. But yeah, it's you need somewhat smartness.
$80, I think, is going to be too much. It's just, I don't care what people say about, how realistically money feels today because of inflation or anything like that. $80 to $100 is a lot of money. And for most people, they're just going to pass on it. There's other games that are out there that are far cheaper, that are much more worth their money, and they're going to support them instead. So if these AAA companies want to go ahead and do it, these big, the biggest publishers and studios that we have that are out there, go for it. I love to make videos about it. Like the video I'm going to make for BioWare.
It's free content.
That's going to be
free content.
That one's a long time coming. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did,
Same with BioWare. I'm worried for Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect's the only game that's going to be able to save BioWare. And if that one flops just as bad as Dragon Age did, I don't see BioWare being a company anytime soon. EA will probably shut them down. Which will be sad because the Mass Effect series are so damn good. Except for Andromeda. I was going to do Andromeda, but I stopped. But I have 1, 2, and 3. You can watch it on YouTube. Alright, that was a good video. Go give Legendary Drops some love. Subscribe. Join if you want to. It was good. I'll remove this from my reaction. But we'll see y'all for the next one. Peace. Good video.